Swadika and welcome to the special edition of Thai PBS World, as we will be giving you an analysis of what may happen next in Thai politics. As you may be already aware, the Constitutional Court has decided that General Prayut Chan-o-cha can stay on as the country's prime minister until his current term in office ends. So in other words, he can only stay on for another 2 years at most if he gets re-elected during the next general elections, because the ruling is based on the decision from the current constitution, which starts from 2017.
All right, so our topic today is the Prayut survives. What's next?
Yes.
That's quite challenging, right? No, but before we go to what's next, I think we come back to what happened today first then.
Yes.
Did the whole thing come as a surprise to you?
Not a surprise to me, though I disagree with what came out from the Constitutional Court, respecting the court. But with the verdict that was handed down, there are lots of errors to me. And the erroneous decision is that when the Constitutional Court was talking about all the matters that came from the petitioner, the Constitutional Court, instead of explaining in a long fashion, as though it has done through many cases.
True.
For example, when the court dissolved Anakot Mai, the Future Forward, the court delineatedly explained what has been coming up, what was written in the law, how was party structured, and what should be done with each party, what this party has done, and what has happened, and what was the law, and how it's interpreted, all these things. When the court did not put down thoroughly all these matters, the problem is that people are in curiosity as well as in uncertainty. The curiosity is that what has happened? Why are you cutting so short to say that, 158 putting together with 264, it means that everything starts from the beginning of the Constitution, 6 April 2017.
Right.
And when it started there, then the 8 year will be counted from there. And therefore, the petition that came to the court is dismissed, and that's it.
You use the word curiosity, right? Or doubts, whatever there are. So where do you think is the point that draws the most curiosity or raises the most doubts among members of the public?
I think they were thinking, and probably they've been thinking that way, and probably is going to continue. Is there conspiracy? Has this been talked or discussed or negotiated? Because see, when the 500th meeting, the minute of that meeting came out,
the Constitution
drafting committee.
Obviously, you were an advisor.
Yeah, I was the advisor too. In the 500th, I was not there.
I see.
But in the 501, I was in there. The last one. Okay. The thing happened was that the chairman and the deputy chairman discussed this particular issue, saying that it should have been counted, or it must be counted from the beginning, right? That was the discussion there. Then that was around a year after the Constitution was drafted. But the drafting process is ongoing. People were still discussing Constitution. The explanation on Constitution in each of the provisions has been ongoing that time. So whether it's a year, but it's close enough, especially to the drafting of the organic laws. Each organic laws will have to link back to the Constitution itself.
So you were hoping for more explanation from the court?
Yes, because
Like
the court, when the court was just saying that, well, a discussion is a discussion.
Right.
But you see, people even ask me, so the deputy prime minister said that a discussion from 2 people, how can it be counted?
I see. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
that was a year after the Constitution was drafted, after the Constitution was not even drafted, the Constitution came into force. So how can it be trustworthy? Because it's a year afterwards.
Right.
But when the chairman wrote and sent to the Constitutional Court, what year is this? It's 5 years after the Constitution came into effect, right?
Right.
And it's 4 or 5 years when the 7 people who were the committee members sat together in the committee.
See.
And then later on, they sat together in the legal council,
Yeah.
Risadika, and they thought of this issue in particular.
Right.
If you
It's like they
compare all this,
foresee it.
yes, if you compare all this, the Constitutional Court will have to make a more articulated explanation.
Sure.
Okay, the articulation was not made. They were just saying that, well, that was a discussion between the chairman and the deputy chairman, so we don't count.
Right.
They will have to compare that discussion between the chairman and deputy, compare the 7 people who work as a special committee under the legal council, and compare what was written by the chairman. And after a thoughtful consideration, why the Constitutional Court accept which as the explanation for the intention
But
of the Constitution.
That is an expectation of the people, right? But it's not required by the law for them to deliberate that decision in detail, right?
Well, it's not required, but as I said, that when they were dissolving the future forward,
Right.
they talk like the whole world.
There's
Yeah, so
comparison.
far they
There's
have-
a comparison. Yeah.
Because the whole world is here, therefore we dissolve the future forward.
Right.
So
Because the whole world didn't see anything, so we said General Prayut
So
stay
here
on.
is the whole
So-
world.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
comparison.
Am I right to conclude that the judges go by the letters of the Constitution and ignore the spirit of the Constitution?
I think the problem is that they did not show explicitly how the intention or the spirit of the Constitution was found. See, when I was saying that they should have compared and they should have explained,
Yeah.
because the spirit of the Constitution or the intention of the Constitution will be clear,
Yeah.
it won't be equivocally put like that they had done.
Yeah.
Okay, the problem is that if the spirit or the intention of the Constitution is clear, unambiguously explained, then when they look at the provision, the text or the wordings itself, then it can come clear to the mind of the people. But here, if you look at the wordings, especially of Article 264, the wording said that the cabinet, okay, ex officio or in office, prior to, okay, underline the word prior to
Yeah.
the Constitution, is, I use the word is, not remains, okay, use the word is the cabinet within the provision of this Constitution. You see, prior, what does that mean, prior?
Before.
Before.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when the Constitutional Court said, okay, it started 2017, but it said prior to. If you compare this to the other constitutions, the Constitution of 1997, Constitution of 2007, those constitutions in the same matter said that the cabinet on the effective date of the Constitution.
But that's why the decision is not unanimous. Or is it not unanimous so people can feel a little better?
Even though it's not unanimous, they will have to explain
Right.
that, okay, when you say on the date, the effective date, or you say prior, it's the same.
Right.
It can be, okay, under the law, that something written differently means the same, or something written the same means differently. Okay, it can be like that, but you need very, very good and very clear explanation. Normally, and especially when we talk originally, and we talk typically, the law and the general wordings are just the same. When something is written the same, normally it means the same, right?
True.
When something is written different,
Normally it's
it normally
really
means differently.
Right.
particularly when you write the law. Even when you use the word or, you use the word and, you use the word if, you use the word then.
Everything
even those
means
words,
something.
everything counts.
Yeah.
So when you use the word prior to, as against the word on the date or on the effective date.
Right.
When you use the word is and you use the word remains, they're all different. So I think the Constitutional Court, okay, on the matter, even prior to this constitutional matter about General Prayut, when the Constitutional Court decided on Minister Don Paramat Vinay, linking back to Constitution of 1997,
That's right.
saying that because of that Constitution, the minister is counted on the effective date of the Constitution. Yes, that's right. On that Constitution.
Right.
That was Decision 20/2544. But that was Constitution of 1997. They dragged that on to say that under this current Constitution of 2017, it's the same. No, it's written differently.
Well, it's kind of interesting because when they decided to suspend the prime minister, they actually based the 8-year term from the military coup, which was 2014. But how come they decide to change their mind and started from 2017 when the constitution, the current constitution rather, started?
Well, because when they suspended temporarily General Prayut that time, because the Constitution said this, shall there be a suspicion, or if there shall be a suspected merit, then you can suspend him temporarily.
Right.
So
There was uncertainty, there was
Right,
suspicion.
Yeah.
Okay, they were suspiciously thinking that perhaps he's out.
You know, the way they
Yeah.
see this is, this will not happen in other countries. Because most countries, they don't change constitution this often.
You're
in
perhaps
this
right.
detail.
You're perhaps right.
And they wouldn't have coup this often too.
Yeah, you're perhaps right.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that because I disagree.
Right.
Respecting the Constitutional Court, therefore, I said all these things. If the reason that the Constitutional Court, were the majority, delivered was acceptable, then I might say I disagree. However, their reason is sound.
Right.
Okay, and the sounding of their reason can be explained here, here, and here. Okay, but because they didn't compare all these things to show what Kun Thepchai used the word spirit of the Constitution. When it comes to the wording, if they compare and say just like I said that, well, when you say prior to or on the effective date, it means the same thing. You can't count prior to that. Why? Because you cannot use the law retrospectively. Okay, because retroaction cannot be had unless you write it down. They said this. They said about retroactive.
Okay.
Okay, they said about retroactive, but they didn't explain.
Right.
What does that mean as compared to other constitutions? If they said this and they said, okay, it's the same thing. Therefore, when you count, whether you use the word is or remains, whether you use the word prior or on that effective date, it's the same. Then what we are discussing now here, that the wordings are different, will be gone. And if they say the spirit, okay, if you want to find the spirit or the intention of the Constitution, yes, what was discussed in the Constitution drafting room, that also matters.
That's true.
When they come on another panel and they discuss, that is also counted. When the chairman was writing this and then submitted to the court, this is also counted. But we put all these together as well as we look into what the petitioner submitted to us. Then we found that the actual intention of the drafter is this. And once the actual intention of the drafter is this, we are not taking this automatically as the intention of the Constitution itself. We look for every other aspects that could be put into this bundling together in order to find the exact actual intention of the Constitution itself. And now we found it, and
Right.
therefore, like this, it's fine, it's reasonable.
I think what is interesting is that I think the ruling today did not come as a surprise to most people, including you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because prior to this, to today's verdict, people were talking about this solution already. That this would be the most likely outcome of, the whole thing. So why do you think that people had that kind of notion long before the court made the decision?
Well, I think it's in three ways. Okay, firstly, people thought there's conspiracy theory. So what was that conspiration? Well, they conspire in order for General Prayut to get his whole term, this term. And then after this, whatever he wants to do, he wants to go on, it's his problem. If he wants to stop, then it's fine. Then that's their job, to bring the man through this term. Okay, so that's what people believe.
Okay.
Secondly, I think it's very wrong when people say we use political science or we use politics to decide the Constitution. See, you can think about politics, you can think about economics, you can even think about astronomics or whatever, astrologies, you can be astronomer, you can be anything. Okay? But in the end, you have to put all these together
as a
consideration.
Laws, right?
As a consideration.
Right.
That can only be the consideration. But the interpretation has to be jurisprudence.
Let me ask you this though, as a law professor. What is more important between the intention of the law drafter or the constitution drafter or the letter of the law? Because sometimes the intention is one thing and how they write it is different thing. And how people interpret it is another thing.
The letter of the law comes first.
Right.
Okay, the letter of the law comes first. But when the letter of the law comes first, when you write something in law, it's normally not clear. So you have to interpret it.
It's a normal or something that they usually
Yes.
Okay.
See, the problem is not that lawyers want to show that they are smart or they are more literacy than others. But because when you are using the law, when you write the law, you cannot write just for it to cover only one matter.
Right.
Only once or only several things. Okay. You have to make it cover, especially you have to be a futurist somehow.
Right.
You see, people who can draft the Constitution like the US Constitution last 200 something years, and it was still being used,
Still applicable.
capable of applying
Right.
to whatever happens. That means they're so smart.
Right.
Why? Because they didn't write it long. They write it short, and they just thought of human nature. What do you want? Just like when they were writing the Declaration of Independence. They were just saying, what do you want? You want pursuit of happiness. Who does not want happiness? Everyone does, right? So they just write like that. You have the right to pursue your happiness. You have the right to liberty. They just write something like that. So when we write a very long constitution, and we put it that way, we have to really, really explain it. So the wording comes first. But if the wording is not so clear, you have to find the intention. Not the intention of the drafter. The intention of the drafter is just a tool to find the actual intention of the Constitution. But that's why I was saying that the Constitutional Court should have put this on the table so you can see.
Should just explain, right.
Okay, the verdict is out.
The verdict is out.
There's nothing we can do, whether you like it or not.
Yes.
Now let's
Of course.
look into the future.
Yes.
So what do you think the whole thing means to the future of Kun Prayut's?
Well, I think we have to make a separation between the future of General Prayut and the future of Thailand. I think what it means for the future of General Prayut is that he gets to hold office until the end of this term.
Okay.
Whatever he wants to do within this term, then, as he said, he will be doing it to the utmost capacity that he can.
That's what he said today in his Facebook post.
That's right.
I will devote myself to pursuing all the mega projects that I have initiated.
It's like a long vow to the public.
Okay, that's for sure.
So do it, and decide on your good future, whether you want to stay on, whether you want to be mingling in this Thai politics as whatever it is. I didn't say politics, I said Thai politics because it's different from other
It's
politics.
unique, it's unique, very unique.
Yeah, it's unique. So stay in this uniqueness, and then you want to be on, you want to be in, you want to be within, okay? Then you move on. That's your goal.
All right.
But for the future of Thailand, should General Prayut stay on? And if he didn't deliver his promise, then people will come out.
Okay.
If he uses up the budget in a way in which is not clean, it's not trustworthy, or is problematic, then people will come after him.
Okay.
Thirdly, if he tries to fast track some of the process, but he couldn't finish within this term, then down the road, we could be in deep debt because he's using up the money during this time because he wants to do that, he wants to do that. And lastly, if he and his crew or his brothers
His comrades in arms.
are in real discrepancies, they are not having the same ideas anymore, they are competing, then we won't have a peace arena in politics. They're fighting within and they're fighting outside too.
So how will this actually intensify the political situation in Thailand, especially for the opposition parties as well as the young protesters who actually vowed that they will come out if Prayut actually stays on?
I think the opposition said it clear that they disagree with the Constitutional Court and for so on and so forth matter of aspect. The people who will come out on the road, I think they are not only coming against General Prayut, but they don't want the people who are the same group as General Prayut to stay on. So they didn't care. If they could stop General Prayut, the first person, I think they will move on to stop other people. So even General Prayut is permanently suspended, this will not change because they have already in mind to set off the NCPO. Okay, they want the saga or they want the legacy of NCPO to be suspended or to be eliminated
Right.
forever.
Because for them, the whole picture is like the same group of people.
Yeah.
And
So
they
I
don't
think
want that.
I think this doesn't change anything. He gets to stay or he didn't get to stay. It's the same.
According to the ruling today, Kun Prayut can go on and serve out his term, right?
Yeah.
But if he wants to get elected as Prime Minister again, he would have only 2 years
2 years.
to
2 years
be in
left.
office,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That won't be good for him.
Right.
Can you imagine him campaigning, saying that I have only 2 years to serve, so elect me, I'll do everything for you within 2 years.
They call that sitting duck, right?
That won't be good for him. That won't be good for his future coalitions. And it won't be good for the country as a whole. As Kun Nat said, so what will happen to the opposition?
Yeah.
On this matter, I think the opposition will like it.
Ah,
See, they don't like it now, but I think they will like it then.
okay.
The reason that I said that everything remains, even General Prayut is out, because they didn't care whether General Prayut is here. They care that all of you guys are here.
Right.
They want everybody out. Okay, but now it's only this short period of time until the election. When it comes to the election, I think the opposition will like it. I think Pheu Thai will like it because, you see, if you compare this to what happened with the Bangkok governor, because on one side, people are like, who should I choose? Oh, okay, I give you one, I give you one, I give you one, I give you 4 or 5 people. But on the other side, Kun Virod, they said, Virod, you're still not. So we give all to Chat. That will be happen. If General Prayut goes to one party, General Prayut goes to the other party, General Anupom goes to the other party, that person, this person. Then let's say you have 10 parties as against 2 parties,
Right.
which is Pheu Thai and which is the Kao Klai, right? You have those 2. Pheu Thai might be keeping their eyes on Kao Klai. Because they might be thinking, hey, you are going to take some of the votes from me.
Yeah, they will be
But-
competitors
Yeah,
in
it's
the
a competitor.
next
Yeah.
election, right?
But it's just like Kun Chat competing against Kun Virod. Just
Right.
the 2. But on this side, lots of them. But if General Prayut decided to stay off, then see, people will have to group with, let's say, General Prayut. And if General Anupom, at first he thought that General Prayut will go this way, General Prayut this way, so he can go this way because he can get some vote. He
Yeah.
can stay on. But if General Prayut is out, if he stays on competing with General Prayut, it's not healthy for him.
Right.
He might be grouping with General Prayut. Other people who wanted to support General Prayut, but he stopped,
They will all
they will all
support.
come here.
Right.
Yeah.
So this will change. If General Prayut is not in this equation. Okay, if this equation is out of Prayut, then this will be another matter.
But this is how you look at things as a formulation, though, right? But it doesn't mean that they're going to think like that, or they probably would think like that.
Of course. Especially General Prayut, he might think that I'm just going to stay on.
Right.
If you want to propose me, it's fine.
Even though he likes to say he doesn't want to be the prime minister.
Oh, yes, of course.
Many times.
Yeah. See, if you say you want to be the prime minister, then
No, but
you're deeply.
But on the other hand, the decision by the court today can be seen as a sort of a awakening for Kun Prayut. Your time is up. That somebody see that as a message, and then the decision today should provide you with a graceful exit.
Yes.
So take it.
Yes.
Can you you think you can look at things that way?
I was saying that when that one man brought a ladder, a golden ladder, and put in front of the government house, showing that General Prayut, I want you to step down this golden
this
ladder.
can be the golden ladder, right?
Yes,
Yeah, so
I
this-
think that's the metaphor of what General Prayut should be thinking of.
Stepping down
But he
gracefully.
doesn't look
Stepping
at
down
it.
gracefully, and I
Right.
think it will be elegantly. Okay, because he said, okay, no more. I stop. And if he so say more that I stop from politics, but I will not stop looking after all of you. I can still work on because I think I'm still young enough, I'm still active, and I understand many things about politics, and I see many problems being prime minister. I shall return, but not as prime minister.
Right. That would look handsome.
You
that's
look
right.
handsome. It's just like, see,
right,
when Al Gore, okay, when Al Gore lost,
Yeah.
okay, to George Bush,
Right.
he said, well, I don't agree with what the court was ruling, but I accept him as my president. I will go on working. And then he got the Nobel Prize,
Right.
right, for what he's doing.
But being Prayut as he is,
He's
think
not
you
going
are-
to get
you are-
Nobel
you-
Prize.
I'm dreaming.
you wishful think.
I'm dreaming, right? I have to sing that song, dream, 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 dream. See, and what I said that it will not be good for the coalitions as well.
Right.
It's because you see, if you are being a coalition,
You cannot sell a product that already has expired date on it
Yeah.
like that.
You cannot sell a product which has half-life.
Right.
But the more uncertainty to that is that if this half-life goes out before the half-life itself, let's say he said, oh, within 1 year, all these people are like condemning me so much. I'm just going to put you all down.
But if you talk about it like this, like it's half-life, 2 years, and the opposition will be happy a little later, it sounds like the results actually a compromise between the two, isn't it?
That's why I was saying that it could be a conspiracy, as people were thinking that this probably is a conspiracy. Why? Conspiring in order to let General Prayut stay on for the whole term, let him step down peacefully,
Right.
okay? And I don't know, afterwards, if he wants to stay on, he should stop. I think that's a conspiracy, okay? That's what people were thinking. If it was politics, see, let him stay on for this matter, administering the country until the end of his term. And after that, let politics move its way through all the parties, the other parties, not General Prayut, in this, well, the formula will not have General Prayut anymore.
Yeah, because I'm sure that his present coalition partners, the Democrats, Phum Jai Thai, and other parties, might be starting to have a second thought about working with Prayut in the long run, right?
Of course. And you see, let's say they want to work with General Prayut, but General Prayut stay half a term. General Prayut can stay the whole term. Who are you going to choose? Especially knowing politics. And I think as we all know, maybe the whole world also observed this. Was it General Prayut that worked political way all the time? Or it was General Prayut who worked political way all the time? Who was it that negotiated with people? Who was it that went behind the scene every time there were problems? Who was it that kept all these abreast and moving?
Definitely not Prayut.
Yeah, it's definitely not Prayut. See, the last 4 years, election, people might want General Prayut
Right.
for whatever reason.
Right.
Now, is that magic is still on? Is the miracle? They don't think so.
Right.
I don't think they think the same. As
You
that
don't
4
think
years.
he still has the charm that he once had among many admirers back 5, 6 years back?
I don't think he does. And see, if he study history, ปพิบูลสงคราม when he was a dictator, it was one issue. When he became part of politics within some political arena, then he's another guy. ถนอมกิตติขจร okay, Field Marshal ถนอมกิตติขจร just the same thing. When he was the dictator, he looks like but when he turned himself into a politician, it's another issue.
Right.
Right.
And they're all gone. Okay, Thanom is gone to one country, Paul is gone to another country.
Are you trying to say something?
I'm not trying to say. I was saying that historically, things tend to come back every now and then.
I have a question though, but right now I think what we should look at the coalition party, right? How they will look at this, and they still like stay with the same group of coalition, or they should start looking at the opposition party. There was an analysis about this saying that, for instance, Phum Chai Thai looked like going to be the party that gained even more member parliaments than Palang Pracharat. Like in the next general election, Palang Pracharat probably not doing so well, something like that.
Well, I think in politics, and this is true around the world, you are not coming to politics in order to find a friend indeed, nor a foe in fact.
So everybody is friends and foes.
You can be friend and foe. You can be both. You can be something at once, and you can be another thing at another time. Okay, so when it's like this, if you Phum Chai Thai, are you going to shake hand and hold hands with General Prayut all the time, or General Prayut all the time?
No way.
No way.
No way. No
No.
way.
But if you are going to point your finger at them,
No.
no.
You will kill your chance of
Right.
anything possible.
See, if you compare General Prayut and General Prayut politically, General Prayut, yes, he yelled at people sometimes, but very few. Okay, very few chances that he had done. But General Prayut, he did that all the time.
Yeah, that's right.
He's done that. Okay, he might be still doing that until the end of his term.
Yeah.
So in politics, people will not like this. And you see, it will be kept in the mind of all the coalitions, but they don't show it now because he's prime minister.
Yeah.
But when all are candidates, he is candidate, they are candidate.
Yeah.
Why care? You are
So-
equal to me.
So
Yeah.
can we say that what is happening now could be the beginning of a major turning point in Thai politics?
Yes.
With
Yes.
political realignments, starting shortly before the next election.
Yes,
right?
yes, and I think at this moment, if General Prayut is thinking that, like he said, peace ends with Prayut. Okay, when he last campaigned,
Yeah.
they said peace end
Yeah.
with Prayut. That means choosing Prayut,
Yeah. Okay.
then you will have peace. I think now he has to say peace ends with Prayut by stopping. Because if he stops, I think at least one of the three is out. The other two will be weakened.
Yeah.
And the other two might have to find some ways not to be presented themselves. Because if they still do, once they are compared with General Prayut, who stopped already,
Right.
they are older than General Prayut. If the younger brother stopped, but the elder brothers are not stopping,
Yeah. That's right.
they will look bad. If they are still moving towards having that disposition, especially Prime Minister, then they will look worse. And then the worst is that people will see them as wanting power so much.
That's,
But
yeah.
the other person sit back, relax, and want no more. Okay, so I don't think they will look good. And when General Prayut stopped this way, as I said, he can be a statesman.
That's right.
Yeah.
You know what interesting is that Prayut once portrayed himself as a solution to the country's problem, and he has some degree of success with that. But now he has become part of the problems of the country.
Yeah.
So as you just mentioned that if he stayed back, and then he could help contribute to restoring peace or reconciliation.
Yeah. Okay. One pity thought that I heard from people that they said General Prayut might have in his mind is that this solution of the parliament is a loss to him. He thinks he's a loser if he dissolves the parliament.
Okay.
If he resigns or stops, he is a bad person. He thinks like that.
This is what people say.
People said that's what people said. I've never talked with him, and he never told me though.
Okay.
But if it's true, that's very dangerous. That's harmful to him. You see, dissolution of parliament is just a matter of timing,
it's
just a matter of
politics.
situation. Okay, when the situation comes, even a soldier that I think is very democratic, like General Chawlit Yongchayut, I think he's very democratic.
Yes.
He resigned, as the chief of army, and then he joined politics. But the guy, administered the country so badly. He took us to like economic turmoil and economic downside, like all the bad things. But democratically, this guy, this general, is a democratic person. General Prayut, he can be something like that if he wants to do, but he didn't do it prior to this time. He can do it then. Next, afterward, I stop. I don't want it anymore. I think it will look good.
But one worry is that since he knows that his days are numbered, right? So he may think that I'll make the best out of the remaining days I have. I will not dissolve parliament. I'll stay until the last day of my term.
I always give this example that people around the world believe that Pele, you probably know the soccer player, is the best player the world ever had, and will be the best player in the future that the world will have. Why? Because he stopped when he was at his peak. He stopped when the whole world wanted him to be that, be this, and be those.
So General Prayut is still at his peak?
Well, at least not his bottom.
True.
He is not now on the ground. I think now it's the middle world for him. His glorious day is over. But it didn't come to his disgrace day yet.
So about like a bit of a decline, sort of.
Yeah, it's declining. See, normally, let's say taking economic, when something goes up, it won't stay long. It will have something to go like this, or it has something to go like this, or it has like that.
Like some sort of cycle. So it's either like this or like this.
Diminishing return when the product is not changed.
Right.
When you don't change the product, let's say the phone. If you have iPhone 1, iPhone 1, iPhone 1, iPhone 1, iPhone 1, diminishing return. People won't want it any longer. Therefore, it has iPhone 1, iPhone 2, iPhone 3, new computer, new TV, new clothing, new everything, even new prime minister, even new MP. That's why democratic mostly work, because people gets to change. So people wants to change. When people wants to change, but you don't change, this will be a problem. But if you just change, you make a change yourself, then this will be better. You won't have this diminishing return, or you already had, but you can stop it. Just as I said, you might have your glorious day. It's not your disgrace day yet, so stop here. You might be half of the Pele.
So now
as we mentioned earlier, that Kun Prayut posted a message on his Facebook today, right? Talking about how he will devote his time to all the mega projects that he believes that will bring the country forward, bring prosperity to the country. So if he stick to that, do what he says he will do in his Facebook post, and then wash his hand of politics and say that I have enough now. I'll turn over the job to the next generation of leaders. That would be the best way out for him, right?
To me, that's beautiful. That will be a timing that he has as prime minister for the whole term. We don't count the term when he was part of the NCPO. He did whatever he did already. The one term that he has for, or shaky democratic situation, that's fine. But he used up that term within his power to do whatever he thinks is good for the country. And then he say, okay, no more. Because I've learned from politics that politics is politics. I don't like this world. I'm not going away anywhere. Just as I said, I'm still working for the country. I'm still looking after all of you, but not as your prime minister. I am fed up with politics. I won't be your politician anymore.
Okay, so now it's his time to...
As I say, it's beautiful. It can be very beautiful, but up to him.
And that would be the best solution for him so that he can step down gracefully.
Angel and demon.
Right.
What does he want to be?
The matter of whether he will see this as the golden ladder or golden bridge for him to cross.
Or he might think that it's, I don't know. See, people tend to say that when you step on a slippery slope, you have to be very careful.
Right.
He one day will be stepping on that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very, very slippery.
But what about his legacy from now on? How people will actually think of him for the next 10 to 20 years from now on? Because sometimes people have felt that he has left a bad image, but for supporters, he has created peace for the country.
He might. See, he might at this point be seen that way. But I'm pretty sure if he stops himself without being chased, without being kicked down, let's say that, like a harsh word, then who can say what? They can say the past, but what about the future? The future lies ahead for him to be a glorified statesman if he wants. Or he can be a horrified statesman if he takes it the other way.
Horrifying statements.
So I take him for his words in his Facebook post. I think I want to believe what he intends to do.
Yeah.
That he would be committed to pursuing important infrastructure projects.
Yes.
And he didn't mention anything about his political future. And
No.
that's good if he stick to that and confine his role from now on to implementing all the projects that he said he initiated.
Yes. People said he's a good man. Let's say if it's true, as the people said, I want to see a good man live peacefully. And I want to see a good man walking around elegantly, talking to people without being shy. Okay, and I want him to sing the song My Way, and can really do that, and can really be that. If he's a good man, if what people are saying that he's a good man, then
I think he likes what we just said because he's smiling at you.
That photo.
It's like an iconic photo of him, and it's a perfect one because he actually survived for some reason. But one last question: how would you foresee the upcoming months to the general election? How intense will it be from now on, considering that Prayut has survived and now there are going to be more candidates going up against him, and also the Palang Pracharat party is getting some sort of quite unstable because many of the members have left and created their own parties and vowed that they will not choose Prayut Chan-o-cha at all.
I think that might be more and more upcoming. I think even those parties that vow to support General Prayut now is having a second thought, whether or not they should. As we were discussing, whether or not they should pair with General Prayut or someone else. Those people who were intending to move to some of the parties supporting General Prayut, thinking that he can stay for another term, might be pulling back. Okay. And I think the political ground, especially on the road, for example, like what we are now discussing here, people are discussing in other channels. Okay, the other colors are talking differently.
That's true.
They are hitting on the Constitutional Court. They are hitting on General Prayut. And tomorrow, some people, if it's not raining so hard, will walk down the road. And this will be ongoing. Okay.
Right.
And hopefully, the APEC to come will not be like the APEC that we had.
Oh, yeah.
If it's like that and nothing is being done in order to prevent that, we're losing face again. And this will be a much more face losing than when that government was attacked. Because that government was led by a civilian.
Right.
This government is led by a soldier.
So it's going to be a very tough situation for
Very tough.
General Prayut.
Yes. And after APEC, is he going to dissolve the parliament? Because if he dissolves the parliament, it's also a good, at least too good. Well, if you end the term normally in a usual way,
Right.
okay, then 90 days for people, okay, up to the election day.
For campaigning,
To be in the party. But if the dissolution comes, then you have only 30 days.
Yeah.
So 1/3. If the EC has to do this election, okay, because the term ends, they have 45 days minus. But if it's dissolution, 45 days plus, no more than 60 days.
Okay.
So everybody gets to
Yes.
breathe more.
All right. So
Okay.
one real last question. We cannot talk about Thai politics without talking about another very important players in Thai politics, General Prayut Wongsuwan. How do you see his future?
Well,
Will he keep saying, I don't know,
Yeah.
I'm not Joe Biden?
For a month, he has been in the role of acting prime minister, right? And has been doing a good job.
Before I came into this show, some ผู้ใหญ่ called me and said, Jade, Prayut might be disappointing, huh? So, I think this word can tell you what is his future.
Because from tomorrow on, Prayut will not be making the headlines that he has been making the past 1 month, right?
But if he wants to come back, then he has to do more. You see, he walked the road. He walked around the country. He was acting prime minister, like acting as prime minister, not acting prime minister like the position.
He has been very active.
So when the ผู้ใหญ่ said, Jade, Prayut might be disappointing, huh?
And you agree with that ผู้ใหญ่
ไม่รู้
The iconic, I don't know.
I don't know.
Right.
So you believe that he may not be content with what he has now. So
No. I think he will.
You
He
think
will
he
do more.
wants more?
Well,
That's a difficult
it also
question.
depends on people around him as well,
it
not
depends on
just
people
himself,
around him.
right?
Right.
But see, I can't listen to the deck because the young generation, they probably don't see more. Okay.
Right.
But I listen to the ผู้ใหญ่ who passed like their 80s.
Right.
They said, look into his eyes. There's fire of desire.
Okay.
That's pretty interesting.
So
So look into his eyes. When you look at him, look into his eyes. There's a fire of
So we'll
desire.
see more of him.
Of course.
Definitely.
Definitely.
All right.
Interesting.
Okay.
Exactly, and that's a great insight from Dr. J today in terms of the future of Thai politics and what will happen to General Prayut from now on as well. So thank you so much for today. ขอบคุณมาก
Thank
นะ
you.
คะ
สวัสดีครับ ขอบคุณครับ ขอบคุณครับ
And that wraps up tonight's edition of Thai PBS World with our special analysis on General Prayut's future and Thai politics. Thank you so much for watching and we'll see you next time. สวัสดี
ส
ค่ะ
วัสดีค่ะ
สวัสดีครับ